It's okay. It's just weird. Life is weird. We find ourselves in a time between times, sometimes feeling frantic or super anxious or never actually letting go of the tightness inside. We desire to grow into who we're meant to be, and yet we're holding on to a continual stream of information that is overworking our mind while oppressing us at the same time. And then we feel like the right thing to do is to point a finger and there's a bad guy somewhere. And a lot of folks who hear that based on their social or political or religious beliefs may say, no, there is a bad guy. You don't get it. I'm pretty sure I do. And everyone perceives to the state of their frequency. So they perceive what they believe, their belief structure at the absolute most core is what allows them, what they're allowing of themselves to perceive in this life. If they feel fear and cannot comprehend a time when they haven't felt some fear, then there's no way there's not a bad guy. Everybody has to get past that at some point. That's why all these traps are not actually bad. They are stages of growth. Our requirement is to come to the confidence in our own comprehension of ourselves that we've grown past that level. We've grown past the requirement of the competency of that level. We are now more competent than that. So we do not go back to that level. At some point, everyone in life has to grow past where they were. And if you notice, society in general, I'm speaking about what's considered the time of the age that we're in now. This is February 2nd, 2025. But what does that really mean anyway? Society in general is subtly oppressive. Instead of getting upset about it, maybe it's that you have the opportunity to become aware of it. Once you're aware of something, you can then blossom past it. You can grow past it. You're not actually trapped. Who do you worship with your attention? Who do you worship with your attention most often and most intently if you're genuinely honest with yourself in the last week? If it's your kids, are you doing it out of peace and wonder and gentle guidance? Or is it juggling and attempting not to show frustration. If it's your job, is it self growth within the job, or is it attempting to get all the menial tasks done? Is it being frantic, or is it creation? Or is it just time going by? But for most people, we can attempt to put it into a category. I'll put it into three categories. It's really just two, but I'll put it into three. Most people are constantly on an unconscious state, so superconscious, self conscious, unconscious, lower unconscious, which is very thick and stagnant and old. It's really deep down in there. And your subconscious, which is projecting out the energy into the events of your life. And your superconscious overrides your lower unconscious. Your self-conscious can override your unconscious, and all of it takes effort, intention from the heart, attention of the mind. So where are you putting your attention? It may be the intention of your heart, maybe, but most folks don't say it that way. So, are you putting your attention of your mind on your greater self and your greater self's attunement with the singular one love, the creation of everything? That's one option. Your spiritual growth, the awareness, the synchronicity, the amazement of everything, the living this life, but also living this life as the awareness of the character of you living this life? Or are you living with your attention on outside coming in? So basically, information from society. Just say it like that. Are you putting your attention on information coming in from society, friends, family, TV, Netflix, anything? How you're supposed to train your dog, anything? Clothes, groceries, coming in. It's information coming in. That's almost everybody. And then in between there may be just the state of confusion. What are you putting your attention on? Uh, who knows? Who knows? You truly are divine, limitless spirit energy. You are the power of everything. You never haven't been. We constantly move around through life without checking in with our heart and starting with the heart. Start with the heart and put the mind's attention on the heart's intention. Focus on that one thing, the heart's intention, and then apply the friction of the body to the heart's intention and hold the attention on the mind on the intention of the heart, while simultaneously holding the attention of the mind on the growth, of the body's movement. That's a physical presentation of the allegory of the creative generative principle of everything. That is how growth happens. Profound truth has been passed down and carried for millennia. And the vast majority of folks are not ready or not meant to or are under a spell in which they will not allow themselves to perceive that it can possibly be true. They're holding on to a story that's been told to them, and they refuse to believe that what they're holding on to is a story. So everything else that's not that, they think is a story. But what they are holding on to is not a story. And then there's the divide and conquer tactics of, well, is it the great Aryan races that passed it down? Is it the great Ethiopian and Moorish races that passed it down? What about the Lee dynasty? What about Atlantis? What about the Anunnaki? It's all these scenarios. It's not that there's a problem learning about certain things, of the value of that or not, but it's all these scenarios of attempting to define and control something that's out of your intentional control, that's not in tune with you, to separate and segment and make your perception of yourself continually smaller, but nobody really takes the time to perceive it that way. That is what resonates with the feeling of the individual, though. That's part of the story that's being told to the individual. These are the great men and women of history. These are all good and bad ones. You just sit here and be the audience and don't do shit. You're not special. They were special. This is how the world came to be. It's just dry. It's just a couple of wars. A couple of people got mad at each other. Domineering, domination. Everybody used to die super early. It was chaos before we had modern medicine. See, you don't need to learn about every nook and cranny of how every single thing in the world works. I went down that path. So feel free to do that. It's not good or bad. I'm just saying I did that. I'm telling you from experience, you don't need to do that. You can find synchronicity in all types of places, but synchronicity really is just a message of you and you saying, time to be you. A better way to go about this journey of finding oneself is my theory from where I am now and has been for a long time is primum vultus interiorum. First, look within. If you can train yourself to not become distracted by the dancing in your mind, which is really information that has been accepted in and just replaying itself in different forms. And that's happening because we are always telling stories. And there's nothing good or bad about that. It's we literally communicate with ourself, outward and inward, via story. And that's one of the barometers of growth that we have for ourselves. Just nobody says it like that. Which is why we're so enticed and so magnetized to and so um, easily hypnotized by story. And if you watch in radio form and movie and TV, obviously computers, phone screens, book form, and play, a performance, even in sports. You you depict image while watching and listening at the same time. And then what's replayed later is partially the image that you've held onto that you have created. It's what someone else is creating in their mind of the image and you're creating have the same characteristics, but they are different images. So you will replay the image that you see, and they will replay the image that they see. It's not what is considered to be the real life, holographic or whatever, of that we're replaying to each other all the time. It's the story that we're telling ourselves all the time. And that doesn't mean we're telling ourselves a story like it's a lie. It's constantly we are telling ourselves a story of how this is going, adding in information to our databases, which is a base principle, a requirement for life here to be able to interact and build. The storytelling of ourselves is a wonderful experience. And in my opinion, it probably occurs beyond this realm, beyond these bodies. But in this time between times, there's a requirement for great growth. And everybody can feel it. And everybody's hiding from it. And everybody thinks they have it figured out. Shouldn't say everybody. You know what I mean? Most. Most think they're on the right side. There is no right side. Doesn't exist. It's if you let it go and let it go and let it go. There's no pacifist or passive aggressive or nihilist perspective here. It's not Buddhist or Hindu or esoteric Christian or whatever, Muslim, Sufi. All that is great. But that's not what this is. The core of wisdom is the core of the true esoteric religions, which is the core of true philosophy. It's all one thing. And it's always the story of the stars. And the story of the stars is always the story of your spiritual growth. It's the story of you. Start watching you. Start watching yourself from the side. It'll probably feel like there's some judgment there. All the things I've done wrong, or all the things that I'm not doing well enough, or some comparison within the social order to what should be the standard, or some sexual or financial stuff, or a great loss, health loss, or relationship loss. Keep watching them. Because if you keep watching yourself from the side, you'll realize, huh, I'm the watching side. I'm not the side, I'm watching. But I'm always, all day long, acting like I'm the side over here that's just moving around and has all these feelings. Well, which is it? You are playing a character here, and that character is part of a grand story. And that story is much bigger than this world. And every world is a world of its own. So your world is your world, just like the images that you create in your mind are your images. Now, those are connected to the greater collective unconscious neural network. However, it's not about attempting to give someone else the images, it's about transmuting yourself beyond their requirement of replaying and holding on to the images, because that's mostly a fear-based thing. The way our mechanisms operate is a blessing. It's a huge blessing. But we've been conditioned to operate out of order. If you start with your heart in everything, set intention, operate the mind as a focused spot, a spotlight. The mind is extremely powerful. The mind is a tool, it's a gateway, it's a portal. It's not you. You are the connection to the greater you. Over here, the watcher. And you are also in control of this character, of you, and in tune with this body and in tune with this place. But we get so far down deep into the density that it feels like we're only the body, and sometimes the body is more than us. And everybody else is more than us, and society is running the show. And we're just trapped. And shit's fucked up. No matter how much material or social gratification on any level, the second it's turned off for 1 second, we're like, ah! You're this over here. This rules this. So what are you paying attention to as the character? The character has a requirement to take control of itself. And if you don't take control of yourself, you will be within that social order being dictated to forever. The character can pay attention to, I don't know, trying to figure it out. Confusion in the middle, which is okay. It's not the worst place to be, because usually confusion leads to an opportunity for a spot of epiphany. But then there has to be action taken on that epiphany. Or it can be society is just providing information in via the direct screen interactions or implication through human to human contact or oppressive government, but in general, it's mostly through the collective unconscious neural network of just information being fed in, and we all operate in a beehive frequency and take in, take in, take in, take in, until it slowly morphs us into more and more of an automaton. That sounds scary. It's not. Because all you have to do is go, oh, well, if I'm paying attention to that unconsciously, how about I use my self-conscious to remember all the time about positioning my unconscious attention onto my greater self, onto my truth, onto my connection with divine singular one love. And I've had some, this is a side note, I've had some conversations with people that uh, I don't say too much, but in general, they're like, well, it's Jesus, or well, it's Krishna, or well, it's Muhammad, or come on. Krishna wouldn't be Hindu as a real entity spirit. Muhammad wouldn't be Muslim. Yeshua or Esau would not be Christian. Can you not see that? Those are paths. What they're doing, what all sages are doing, are saying, look past the path, walk the path, and then find you. And inside you has always been the divine singular one love. You ever notice these religions get so much bigger after the sage? They don't operate too well when the sage is living and giving it to you directly. Because what that means is the other individual, the receiving side, has to receive the information from the sage, and the information is always the same. You do it. This is how I got here. Now you do it and find it within you. Now go read the words of Muhammad. Go read the words. I mean, the words. You know what I mean? The resonance of Yeshua, the one they call Jesus. Go read about Babaji. Go read the Bhagavad Gita. What's the insinuations there? What's the implications? I'm aware of the esoteric truths and the layers of commerce and all the layers through these texts in the Ashurbanipal library. But what's the point? The point is that it's you and you're running from you. Your Christ consciousness. Again, Christ is a word. The corona is a constellation. People get caught up on all these, he was crucified, he wasn't type things. And their belief structure is based around, it's all outside. It's all outside. And the whole point of the whole thing of this existence is experience this and look within. And everything is there. And then the better you get at looking within, the more you can learn how to create here. And then you take that creative power of your own growth that you found where it starts. And you found the mechanism how to do it very well within yourself. And you lose the fear and you keep going and you take that power with you. You no longer need the body at some point. And every esoteric path says that. And I'm not getting it from the Rosicrucians. I'm not getting it from the early Freemasonry. I'm not getting it from the Kabbalah. I'm not getting it from Siddhartha. Getting it from here. Because it's just blatantly true. And the truth itself is an orb that it's glowing orb that you can see the angle from which your resonance is coming at it from. The angle. But you raise your resonance, you can see different perspectives. But the truth is also living in here. It's perfectly clear. Your objective in this life is to find you, to train yourself to look within, to bless the other paths of the other individuals, to grow yourself into a guide, and to begin to process yourself so efficiently with wisdom, nescience, foolishness, ignorance, belief, thought, knowledge, gnosis, wisdom. Wisdom applied effectively in mastery of subject, wisdom applied effectively, mastery of subject repeatedly into mastery of self. Mastery of self, master, walk forward, become a guide. A guide comes back and can meet anyone at any level at any time to guide them to their next step. Not for them, not for anything except for this path is your path. Look here for your next step. It is your energy. We are all energy. We are divine, limitless spirit energy. Everything works in these magical ways, and it's all being found in this time between times because this is a special resonance that's appearing in the time between times, in these ages as they're morphing. And some folks are much closer than others are at not raising their frequency, at being able to perceive based on the frequency they're on, at how they're vibrating. Vibration, frequency, resonance. So it seems like things are getting crazy, have been getting crazy. And I saw all this coming. It's not an egotistic thing. It's been like 8 years, you know. There's probably millions of people that saw it all coming. And I find that life is very trained within society, extremely trained. And so if somebody goes about and offering in a more natural, holistic perspective, then it seems to be too much for the masses to gather around to be able to perceive. Um, Masses of folks in general operate as a crowd, and we are basically all, unless intentionally separated, we're basically all operating on a beehive frequency, beehive like frequency of the collective unconscious, which is a neural network which is literally keeping us in tune with a greater system. And so, even if we don't think that we're in tune with Democratic people and we're Republicans or vice versa, in fact, we are. And we're just creating the egregore of the yin yang in that mechanism of politics, which is just a politics is just a holding place amongst many other scenarios for the groups that do more programming. And programming just means they're doing their job, honestly, in this place. They're feeding information in a predictable manner. And so if you think that you've woken up or anybody ever has and that they're still a bad guy, then there's just more steps to go. It's okay. It's not that I'm the bad guy for telling you that. It's not that anybody is. It's not that I've never felt like there was a bad guy once I woke up a long time ago. I don't use those terms in daily life, but you can forget and you can fall into anger and all these things, or in conversation try to explain something to somebody, and but in truth, look at it from you've left your body and just look at the whole thing. There's no damn bad guy. That's silly. Rothschilds, or you know, Council of 13 or 13 families, Council of 300, all this Luciferian. It's duality. It's a requirement for, yeah, maybe different species, but it's a duality to present a balance so that the individual can become pressed and suppressed and oppressed to the point that they can handle it, then to the point that they can't handle it, so that they then become aware of a greater path. And it's different for everybody, always. There's a couple things that make it real tricky. One of those things is that we aren't told about a collective unconscious. And so it's hard to comprehend how these groups are pulling this stuff off. It's basically they're just feeding information in, and that we are divine beings and our bodies are magic and this realm is magic. And so we are actually projecting the events out. Um, and we're all connected on this neural network, so we're projecting very predictable events out. Energy. We're projecting energy out, which then magnetizes and pulls events in, basically. Allows the ambiance and the resonance for the event to take place. We've been told that there's a mechanism that explains things via one of the categorical premises of how life works here. And we have these categories. We have the industrial category, we have the communications category, we have or digital technology, we have the science category, we have religious category, we have government category, we have military category, education. Kind of silly to think that we've segmented the individual so far that they can't become wise in these categories, that it becomes very, very, very individualized. And then because it's so individualized, people tend to see themselves as so small that they don't know how anything works because it's in these other categories. That's not my category. When that happens, people tend to think that they are overly an expert in their field because nobody else knows shit about any category except for what they participate in. And most people only participate in 2 or 3 things their whole life. And they think that they are not qualified to comprehend anything in any other field. So they're internally telling themselves a story, not telling, just have told themselves a story and accepted it, that they are not worthy of being able to comprehend anything in another category. And then within the category that they put their energy on a frequent basis, they consider themselves to be a more superior expert than they really are because it's so disjointed between their limited perspective and knowledge and everybody else around them who doesn't know a damn thing about what they do. Real experts are extremely rare. And a real expert will probably be somewhat of a Renaissance man or woman and nuanced and fairly humble because they comprehend how to comprehend, and that there's much more to comprehend. So if you take that perspective, almost everything in society is inverted and full completion. And people want to say like the news or the food or whatever, medicine. These are obvious inversions, or law. That law is a great one. But it really is more of a programming of the mind. And it doesn't take much to separate yourself from that and then grow past it at all. The only thing it takes is the will of you. If you choose to say, I'm just going to swing for it and live my own life. I'm not going to be subservient to that vagueness that is functioning off of my energy and then feeding back nonsense. I know it's nonsense, so I'm just going to stop doing that. How am I going to find my purpose in this life? And purpose can meander, but how am I going to find my purpose for where I'm headed, my trajectory? What's my physical purpose, goal, long-term, short-term? What's my spiritual purpose, goal, long-term, short-term? All this has to be short and long, in tune, aligned. And then now what are you going to do with it? And then now actions have to be in tune. All this has to be in tune. Physical, spiritual, financial, family, community. All those goals, you have to have a long-term and a short-term. And you have to have what you're going to do about it now to be able to do anything about getting where you want to go. And you have to do all 5 of those. It's not hard. You already have the information within you. It's just, have I written it down? Have I dedicated myself just to that? And am I doing those things every day? So I'm doing other shit, then I'm not actually going toward that. I'm not who I'm meant to be to do that. Even though it's inside me, I'm not living with the attunement of the greater me that's in tune with the singular one love. Instead, this over here is just sitting and watching and waiting, which is the real you, and you're the character who's mostly operating on information coming in from society. She's going and reacting to whatever information is coming from society in a physical level. Also, that information gets into our head, creates images, not our head, our mind creates images. Our mind is a portal or gateway. And so it just shows up. And then before you know it, those images, as they either taken away our attention long enough that we didn't do whatever it was we were going to do, we lost our focus, or created an emotional attachment to something that is not in alignment with our true heart goals. It's not hard. It's just at some point you gotta be like, fuck it. I'm living this life. I am a spirit being. This is the opportunity. I am limitless energy. This is the opportunity. I am this. I'm paying attention to this. The real me. I'm also this character of me. This is now in charge. The character of me pays attention to the real me. The real me gives directive to the character of me. And then from that, the character of me moves forward based on the goals, long term, short term, that I am receiving from the real me. That's it. Stop paying attention to society. It's a safety net. It's a kindergarten for spiritual energy, and nobody comprehends basically anything. And it seems like everything's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. It's not getting worse. It's just there's a great mix of energy that's required before a separation and then a calming. This is literally a changing of ages of times. Time does not exist in the way that it's said. Clocks are just counting the ticking of their own program, their own gears. They're just going like this and then moving a thing. That's not time. Time bends around the circumference of your energy. That's the truth. But everybody's energy is attached to a collective unconscious, so it seems like everybody's on the same time. Doesn't matter how you feel about that. If you go sit by yourself for a couple weeks, I don't give a fuck if you're a quantum physicist. Go sit by yourself for a couple weeks and time will change. Period. You don't need to know more or less. That's the truth. That basically solves every single thing in your life. Go sit by yourself, the character of you. Go sit by yourself for a couple weeks. That's it. In nature, your problems will be solved. You will realize that they are not your problems, that they are issues that you can either put attention on or not, and that this part of you, if you focus on it, will provide solutions to those issues. And the better version of you listens to this and focuses on its goals, long term, short term, and those goals are directly in alignment. Look at it from above. You're the eagle that's turned into the phoenix, and you're watching the snake of you on the ground that's turned into the dragon, spiritual development. And you're looking down and you're seeing the path forward is you're going from east to west. You get to the sunset, that's your leaving your body. Or that's actually, you should say, you're watching the snake go, and then once it gets to the sunset, it turns into the dragon. You're going from east to west, and a lot of people go like this, or they're all meandered, or they get stuck in a spot, or they just, whatever. They get eaten by something somewhere. You plot out where you're going from above, and then you plot out certain flag markers of how you're going to get there. Doesn't mean I'm going to make $6 million by the time I'm 38. It means what's my short-term goal? Doesn't have to be a certain time period, but just say give it 18 months, 12 months, whatever, 6 months. Give yourself some type of framework, short-term, whatever that means to you, and then long-term should be completion of that thing, as far as you can desire to see right now. Doesn't have to be if you're 20 that you know exactly what it's going to be when you're 80. It's just as far as your eagle desires to see right now. And do that for those 5 things. Do that for your physical. Do that for your spiritual. Do that for your financial. Do that for your family. Do that for your community. And you got it. And then you have what to do. And then you give directorate from the eagle point of view as a consistent memory to the snake that's on the ground acting. And you go and do it. You take action on those things. Listen to your heart where the intention is. That's where you get your answers from, where you get your guidance from. Use your mind as the antenna, as the spotlight. It's a portal of energy flowing through. You get stuck in these images and then begin to tell yourself a story. Don't tell yourself that story. Instead, accept images, accept how it works, but put the right stuff in there. All you have to do is put the one thing in there. And that one thing you find in your heart. To find it in your heart, connect with love by sitting under a tree or in your backyard or by some water or on your bed. Connect with love, forgive everything. Forgive yourself. And then allow the turning on of your imagination. But have that imagination not be from your mind, just gathering images, but from your heart. And allow the proper click to appear within your heart. Allow the imagination of your heart to present what it is that you're meant to do. And when it comes, you'll know. It's obvious. You'll know. And you put your mind's attention on that one thing and you hold that intention in your heart and you don't let go of it. You hold the attention of the mind on that one thing and you keep coming back to it over and over. That's your focus now, over and over and over and over. And then you apply the friction of your body on that one thing. You just don't stop doing that one thing. Everything else, if you do that, it becomes very clear. Everything else is distraction. And everybody secretly, truly wants you to do that. Because if you do that, you're getting closer to becoming the greatest form of you. And if you're becoming closer to becoming the greatest form of you, you have more of you to give to others. Also, you are of the singular one love. You are it. Everything is bending to your attention in this magical realm. It's hard for you to see it because you're getting feedback from the collective unconscious. If you separate and just sit with yourself, doesn't mean separate forever, but separate for a period of days, weeks, sit by yourself, you will see that this world is feeding back your internal energy, your mind's images, your core belief structure, very, very internal belief structure of what you allow yourself to be, what you allow this place to be. And that the more you focus on something, the more this place will show it back to you. What you pay attention to grows. For anyone who's lost in any way, everything is okay. Everything is perfect. There is no death, merely opportunities before. And what you pay attention to grows. What you pay attention to grows. It's not what's on TV or your favorite podcast or what some kids at school said. What you are that it. You are it. You are it. You are divine, limitless spirit energy. What you pay attention to as the character grows. So what are you going to pay attention to? The information that's coming into you that keeps you in a social kindergarten, not comprehending how anything works and thinking that what you choose as your occupation is making you an expert, kind of pointless? Or are you going to pay attention to the real you, which is in tune with the real you, and find a purpose for yourself in this life here, and then have the courage to act on it? I love you. Prima Voltus Interiorum.